That says no parking. Okay, come on. Turn around. That's Mama Holly's work right there, dude. No one in that vehicle, obviously parked.
I know what?
Yes.
Are you a law enforcement officer?
What?
Are you a law enforcement officer?
No, I'm not.
You got a gun on you. You got a permit?
Yes, I do.
Can I see it, please?
Am I required to show you that?
Yes, you on federal property right now.
I could have swore this was a public sidewalk.
No, public sidewalk is
Oh,
on the other
then
side.
I'll go ahead and go over there.
Okay, do you have a permit?
Yes, I do.
Can I see it?
Can I have your name and badge number?
Can I see your permit?
Can I have your name and badge number?
336. Paul 336.
336, go ahead.
Can I have the supervisor? I have an armed individual on federal property. He refuses to identify himself.
Have I committed a crime?
You on federal property, you got a gun.
And I will gladly leave federal
Where
property.
is the gentleman located at?
Right in front of the main door of the courthouse on Ohio Street.
Can I have your name and badge number?
Can I have your ID?
Individual on property.
Am I committing a crime?
Outside the main doors. Wait.
Are you a public servant?
Noble unit.
I'm a federal officer.
So you're a public servant.
That's correct.
Then you're required by DHS to give me your name and badge number.
And you are required to show me ID.
Only if I've committed a crime or you have a reasonable suspicion of me committing a
You carry
crime.
a firearm.
Is that illegal?
It's illegal. On federal property. It's illegal.
And like I said, I will gladly leave federal property.
Alright. We want to see. I call the supervisor.
Am I being detained or am I free to go?
You're detained right now.
For what crime?
You on, I already told you, you're on federal property and you...
And what statute is that?
Go.
The rules and regs are supposed to
Individual cooperating at the time.
That is a very small board, and according to you guys, if I am on the public sidewalk, how am I supposed to see that board?
No, I'm just letting you know, my man. The rules and regulations.
Then, like I said, I will gladly leave off of federal property and return back to public property. There is nothing here that says that this is federal property.
Sir, you got signs everywhere. Okay?
Is the grass public property?
Supervisors come in.
Is the grass public property? Do you know?
Everything from that sidewalk in here is federal.
So I would have to cross onto federal property to see the sign correctly and read the sign, because that is very small print.
I'm not arguing with you. I'm just letting you know what it is. That's it.
Copy. Is the individual cooperative besides refusing to leave government property?
No, he said he's going to go on city property.
I will gladly return to public property.
Okay, so he's leaving property at this time?
I will gladly leave public to federal property.
Negative, not yet. He's open carry on federal property. He refuses to show ID.
Hey sir, this is federal property.
And as I said, there are no signs posted that say that. And as they told me, that sign there, which has very small print, says that this is federal property. In order to get to that sign to read that very small print, I would have to come onto federal property. I was informed that it was federal property by this officer here, and I told him that I will gladly get off of federal property.
I was just clarifying. That's all it was.
So am I being detained, or am I free to go?
Not being detained. You're free to go.
All right, now, since I have 3 officers here, all 3 say police, I would like your name and badge number.
Can I have your ID?
Am I required to give you ID?
Yes.
What crime have I committed?
So I'm not going to give you my name and my badge number.
All right, that's fine. Your name and badge number? And I would like to see your supervisor.
All right. He's the inspector for the building.
Can I have your name and badge number? You've been the most cooperative here.
336.
Huh?
Well, we wait for
this time.
Negative. You want to leave federal property?
Yeah, I'll leave federal property if I can get your name and badge number.
You're not going to get my name and badge number unless you identify yourself.
I don't need to identify myself. I've done nothing illegal. In fact, all right, come on, boys. Look, we'll do this the easier way. Come on. I would still like to see your supervisor. Hello yet again, gentlemen. I'm doing all right. Now that I can officially come on to federal property, I'd like to know your name and badge numbers.
Can I have your ID?
I committed a crime.
You're not going to have our name unless you give me your ID.
Am I a public servant?
Sir.
Am I a public servant, yes or no?
That's it.
Am I a public servant, yes or no?
I'm asking you to leave federal property right now or you're going to be arrested.
For what crime?
So it's your choice.
For what crime?
I'm telling you.
And I'm asking
you,
get your supervisor.
Get out.
Get your supervisor.
Get out of federal property.
For what crime? Are you going to trespass me from public property?
Get off federal property. Okay?
I'd like to see your supervisor. Whichever one of the 3 of you wants to get him, please do.
Can you shut that off?
No. Don't touch my camera.
Get off
and
federal
do not
property.
touch me.
Get off federal property.
Do not touch me. Do not touch my camera.
Get off federal
This is a civil rights issue, and you do not have the right to tell me not to record. That is my First Amendment right.
Get off federal property. I'm telling you.
What is your name and badge number?
I
would like to lodge a complaint against this officer if I can get his supervisor or his name and badge number. Do you know his name and badge number? You've been talking to him all day. And I just read what your sign says. It says inside the facility. Yes, it does. Do you want to come over there and read it with me? I will gladly show you exactly where. I even have it on camera. Come on, boys, now. Sam, help your brother. Federal law prohibits the possession of firearms or other dangerous weapons in federal facilities and court facilities by all persons not specifically authorized by 18 U.S.C. 930. Violators will be subject to fine and or imprisonment for periods of up to 5 years. That is not on the property. So, I ask again, my friend, because yet again, you have been the most cooperative person here.
But I'm not a...
Are you a government employee?
Yes.
Are you a civil servant?
You wanted the supervisor.
Are you a public?
No,
Are you a public servant?
You wanted the supervisor.
Are you a public servant though? Yes or no?
You wanted the supervisor.
But are you a public servant? Just yes or no?
If you one of the supervisors gonna come,
I will gladly speak to a supervisor.
and that's it.
Can you at least give me a rank? I know you have a rank. That's not.
Want that?
You're an inspector?
Yeah.
Okay. And what about these other two gentlemen down here? Okay. I will go ask them, see if they're going to be cooperative as you are. Can I have your rank? It's not a name. It's not a badge number. You're a police officer.
Yes.
Now, I know you know, because I'm well aware, there are multiple different levels of police officers. What level of police officer are you?
I'm a corporal.
Corporal. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. And this gentleman here that's on the phone, I don't want to bother him because he's on the phone. I'm assuming he's speaking to a supervisor.
21.
Do you know his rank?
He's the inspector for this building.
He's the inspector for this particular building.
That's correct.
Okay. Now, are you aware that as a public servant, as a police officer,
Yes.
when asked by a person of the public, a member of the public, for your name and badge number, when you have contacted me, which you did originally, and I have it on video,
Okay.
then you have to provide me with your name and badge number.
So have you.
No.
You refuse to
Unless
show me
I
ID,
commit
I'm
a
not gonna
crime.
give you my name and
Okay.
badge number.
Unless I commit a crime, you suspect me of committing a crime, or you suspect I am about to commit a crime, you have no right to my ID.
You have all the right to show me ID. Period. You want to get a
Do what?
citation and go to federal court? Just keep pushing. And you're going to see what's going to
I don't know how this is disorderly conduct. I'm asking a simple question which you are required to give me the information.
Fucking camera out of my face because I'm going to snap.
Are you threatening a child?
Take that
You
to
are
my
threatening a child.
Yo, stop talking to this.
You just threatened a child. Boy, you are an amazing piece of shit.
So have you.
I didn't threaten a child. For holding a camera.
Are you a father?
No.
You should be ashamed doing this to your kids.
I should be ashamed standing up for my civil liberties and my rights?
Your right is this? Showing
Yes,
what-
my right is to the First Amendment, freedom of speech. That includes recording anything that public officers do in public.
Okay.
Down. Get over here. Do we have an ETA on your supervisor?
Ask him.
Supervisor is unavailable at the time.
That's convenient. I do have another question. Maybe you can answer that. Why are you guys parked on the sidewalk?
It's not your damn business.
None of my damn business. Okay, well, I'm just asking because if I did that, I would get towed and fined. But you're not on an emergency call. I mean, I left here 2 hours ago. You guys were still parked in the same spot. And I come back, and you guys are still parked in the same spot.
That's correct.
So there's no emergency, so I can't see why you would be parked there.
Do you live in the city?
Yes, I live in the city.
So it seems like you don't know what's going on in the city.
Oh, I know there's stuff going down on the circle, but that's 2 blocks from here. That's not here. And there are a lot of IMPD officers over there.
You know what?
So I don't understand why it is that Homeland Security has to be over here if it has to do with something down there. Very curious. So, officer, one of these vehicles around here yours?
One of these vehicles?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Just wondering because there's this one parked on the sidewalk, that one parked on the sidewalk, and there's one over there in the no parking zone. So I was just curious.
Nothing good.
Because I know this one's his, and I can only assume that that one down there is his because I seen him around it earlier when I walked by. So I was just wondering if that one over there might have been yours. Do you condone his behavior on threatening a child for recording?
See what happened.
Well, you'll see it later on YouTube.
Okay.
And probably hear from it from the ACLU. But that's perfectly fine.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you again, what is your name and badge number?
What do you need that information for?
What I need that information for? Because you're a public servant, and as a member of the public who pays taxes, you work for me and I'm entitled to that information. Per DHS website. It is part of your guys' policy. When a member of the public asks you your name and ID, you have to provide it because you work for the public.
Matt Monshine 578.
What was that?
Matt Monshine 578.
Matt Monchak?
Yeah.
What was the number again?
578.
578?
Yeah.
All right. You're a very good officer. Yours?
I'm not going to give it to you unless you...
Do you know this gentleman?
Alright. I can't tell him to do anything.
By yourself, I'm not going to give it to you.
Okay.
Huh?
You really do know you need to go read what disorderly conduct is.
Okay. You need to read your guys' policy. What is your name and badge number? Alright, come on. Turn it off. We're going to go now. I'll just call the number on the back of the vehicle with his plate number. Oh, you have a nice day too. I will definitely be seeing you again with the ACLU for threatening a child. You're amazing. Good luck to you too, because I have it all recorded. 1-877-4FPS-411 G62-418-7H.
DHS officer tries to intimidate man open carrying/filming and threatens his 9-year-old son. The video and content within this post were shared with the COPBLOCK network by Joshua Elliott, via the COPBLOCK.org submissions page. Within the post, Joshua can be seen walking around near the Department of Homeland Security (DHS) headquarters in Indianapolis. Initially, he is filming their vehicles that are parked in a no parking zone and one that is also on a sidewalk. Soon after, he starts walking past the front of the building. At that point, one of the DHS officers standing nearby stops him and begins demanding his ID. Joshua asks if he is being detained and what crime he has committed to justify that detention. In addition, Joshua asks for the officer's name and badge number, which the officer refuses to give him. The unidentified officer states that the sidewalk Joshua is on is actually federal property and that he is not allowed to have a firearm Joshua is open carrying at the time on federal property. After some back and forth about whether the sidewalk is federal property and where it is stated that firearms are prohibited, Joshua leaves the area. Not long after, Joshua returns, having put his firearm away in his car. At that time, Joshua asks for the name and badge numbers of the 3 DHS officers present and also asks to speak to their supervisor. All 3 refuse to identify themselves. One eventually does, and Joshua is told that a supervisor is on the way. However, later he is told the supervisor is busy and cannot come outside right now. In the meantime, Joshua points out that the sign, which can't actually be read without stepping onto federal property, actually says you cannot enter the building with a firearm, not that you can't walk on the sidewalk with one. The DHS officer who originally stopped Joshua continues acting hostile and demanding ID from him while stating that he doesn't have to identify himself unless Joshua does first. In spite of being told that citizens are not required to ID themselves unless they are lawfully detained and that DHS policy requires the officers to do so when asked, they continue to refuse to identify themselves. Once again, the original officer who approached Joshua continues acting hostile, insisting he stop filming and provide his ID. Eventually, that officer threatens Joshua's 9-year-old son, who is also filming with a cell phone. After confronting the officer about threatening a young child, Joshua asks the other officers what they think of the behavior of that officer. Both of those good cops pretend that they didn't see it happen even though they were standing within a few feet at the time. Joshua then decides to leave, which is not the worst idea when you and your children are being threatened by angry thugs who have been known to resort to violence. Date of incident: July 5, 2016. Department involved: Department of Homeland Security, Indianapolis. Officers involved refused to identify themselves. Phone number: 317 233-4280 address, Indiana Department of Homeland Security, Indiana Government Center, South 302 W Washington Street, Room E 208, Indianapolis, Indiana 46204. If you have a video, personal story involving police misconduct and/or abuse, or commentary about a law enforcement-related news story, we would be happy to have you submit it. You can find some advice on how to get your submission published on the COPBLOCK network within this post. Click the banner to submit content to COPBLOCK.org. Click the banner to submit content to COPBLOCK.org. Sorry, this video is broken up into parts. It's my first video shot on a knockoff GoPro. In the first half of this, I was walking on a public sidewalk open carrying my .40 handgun when I was stopped and harassed by a DHS police officer. I guess I'm a glutton for punishment as, after securing the firearm in my vehicle, I went back to attempt to get the officers' names and badge numbers. That's when the bald idiot threatened my 9-year-old son. I filed a complaint against this officer, for which I had limited info to do so. However, nothing has arisen out of it. So enjoy the video, and I'm sure there will be many more to come. Joshua Elliott.